you could just stand there and do nothing. You know, you've got to be able to sort of get everybody to react to you. And it wasn't until the end of the first one that they all chased back to America because they couldn't get all the special effects that they wanted. And while they were in America, they suddenly realised that they didn't want to play Darth Vader with an English accent. And I think it was more particularly my accent, as it were. Because well, I have what they call a West Country accent, you see, what we call a colloquial accent. And in fact, I don't know whether you know, but in Harrison Ford's autobiography, he said that they all used to refer to me as Darth Farmer.
Darth Farmer.
Darth Farmer. But I know I'm from a place called Bristol, which is in the West Country of England. And Bristol people tend to over-pronounce things like ers and rs, and so you keep on saying, oh, my dear, and things like this. So they didn't want Darth Vader saying that. So that was why James Earl Jones came in. But I think he did a wonderful job. So if you come up to me and they say, could you have done the voice of Darth Vader? And I say, well, listen to this, and I go, this is CNN. It was quite actually working on the Star Wars movies was quite strange because we had a script. Because when we did the first one, nobody knew what we were into. We had no idea. We had no idea that we were going to be doing this blockbuster. In fact, most of us thought we were doing a little rubbish when we were doing Star Wars. And when Star Wars came out and was obviously such a fantastic success, they then became paranoid. This is I'm talking about the production people. They became paranoid about secrecy and security, and they were worried to death that anything that was going to happen within the movie was going to get out and be public knowledge before they could actually get it on film. And so what they did, they didn't give anybody on the second film or the third film a copy of the script. And so all we used to get was our pages, which we used to have to, we usually probably get maybe 1 or 2 days before, and then we just have to learn all the lines quickly, and then go in the following day and do it. But we had no idea where, for instance, our pages fitted into the script. We had no idea the overall story. We didn't know what was happening in the movie whatsoever. And when it came to the gantry scene where I'm sort of fighting with Luke on the gantry, they gave me false dialogue. I mean, because they didn't want me to know what was going on, because they thought there was a possibility I might be doing press interviews and sort of drop it and unfortunately let it slip. And so they gave me false dialogue, and I'm up on the gantry when we were doing the film, and I'm going, come and join me. Together we will rule the empire forever. And then when I go to see the film, I'm going, but Luke, I am your father. And I go, wow, that's news to me. You know. It's quite funny also, because different people, our actors have different conceptions of what happened. Once again, Harrison Ford said in his book, he said that Dave Prowse went up to Irving Kershner and thumped him on the shoulder and said, why didn't you tell me that I was Luke Skywalker's father? I never thumped Irving Kershner, anyway. And poor old Mark Hamill wrote somewhere or other, said that he was frightened to death that I was going to jump over 2 rows of seats to get to him because he didn't tell me what the real story was. But I didn't do anything like that at all. But it was a big surprise.
With me, it's funny with the script. So I was given the works of William Shakespeare, thinking I had a huge part, and then I realised I only had 5 lines. So I was deceived. I thought I was playing Hamlet, but unfortunately it never happened. Thank you. Well, at least someone laughed, but they're from Holland. Now, next question.
Right, next. Where are we?
What about a question from our European friends here? I think it would be interesting from Holland. It's lovely we've got people from Holland, from Germany, from France, which is wrong. Mexico, I'm so sorry.
I got offered a convention in Maastricht. Yeah, I never did it. It was earlier this year. And it was too, I didn't know about it until only about 2 weeks before it was going to happen. And they couldn't get their act together to get me over there for it. That was going to go to Maastricht. Yeah.
Next question from somebody.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, young lady. Yes, young lady.
I'll take that question.
No, that's not actually. Well, see, when Luke comes to take off Vader's helmet, he actually unmasked Anakin Skywalker. And once again, what they did, they got a much older actor. I mean, I would love to have played the dying Anakin Skywalker. But I think they didn't want me to get into too strong a negotiating position for future movies. And they amassed a very old actor called Sebastian Shaw, who was 78 when he did it, and died a few years after. So they had no worries about him negotiating big contracts when he came to do the next movie. But no, I would love to have done it. And, in fact, they're now working on the first movie. And young Anakin Skywalker, they got Anakin Skywalker, who's been played by a boy of 9 years of age. So that's how far they're going back in time.
Oh, I didn't know you were that young, Dave.
Yeah, I was once. Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
Yes. It's quite surprising. I think Boba Fett has become this sort of cult hero, if you can put it in those words. I think mainly because I was lucky enough to be wearing a very good costume. I have to be honest, and I actually said this once at a convention, that I'm very lucky. Anybody could have played the part of Boba Fett. Well, this young boy of 8 actually stood up and cried. He literally said, "No, only you could have played Boba Fett." And then I learned very quickly not to undermine what people think of certain people. But really, the popularity of Boba Fett is the mystery surrounding him. He doesn't speak very much. His actions are fairly quick and also slow at the same time, which is a strange thing to say. But if you look at the outfit, the helmets, the gadgets, I mean, he can, in fact, the amazing thing is, I used the jetpack to fly here from London. Because I was told that the gas, you call it here, is much cheaper. So what happened was, when I got across to Canada, no, please, listen, this is absolutely true. I was flying, you see, and this DC-10 flew up and refueled me in mid-flight. And I got to San Francisco. It cost, I think, about $35 to get here. So really, instead of going by plane, which is very expensive in the summer to come from London, I flew by jetpack. And if you believe that, you'll believe anything. No, it's going back to the thing. It's a terrific costume, and there's a mystery about him that people like. So I was lucky enough to be the one that was chosen to play. Yes? A Mexican question? No? Okay. Right, next question? Yes.
What I talked about the training for the lightsaber scenes, we actually had a stunt arranger on the film called Peter Darman. And Peter Darman was actually a kendo trainer. And so what used to happen was, well, first of all, when the film started, or at least before the film started, I had an invite. George Lucas and Gary Kurtz, who was the producer of the film, invited me up to have dinner in a hotel in Forum Wood, which is where the studios are, to have dinner with Sir Alec Guinness. And they wanted me to meet Sir Alec Guinness, and basically when we got there and started eating, it was obviously they really wanted us the two to meet, because they knew that we were going to have this duel at the end of the movie, and they wanted us to get together and find out whether how we got on together. Anyway, what happened was we got on very, very well, and we then got introduced, as I said, to the stunt arranger. And stunt arranger used to arrange for us to go into a sports stadium just outside of London, and we used to practice we choreographed the fight. He used to take obviously the part of Sir Alec Guinness, and we used to choreograph the fight together. And it was just like learning a dance sequence. You learn every move and exactly what you have to do, who's defending and who's attacking and things like that. And then he used to do exactly the same thing at the studios with Sir Alec Guinness. And then when we actually started work on the film, we used to get together. Sir Alec Guinness used to say to me, should we go next door? There's a quiet studio next door, there's nothing happening next door, let's go and practice. And so off we used to go and practice merrily away. And it all worked beautifully. And the same thing happened on the second film, where I had the big lightsaber duel with Mark. We used to go and practice merrily away together, and sometimes the stunt director was there to watch.